So let's try out this link to cell capability on this camcorder here. So basically what you can do is you can use the NFC area on here to communicate with your phone so that you can put the camera's or the phone's image from the phone's camera into the image you're recording here in a picture-in-picture mode. So I don't know if I'm going to be using that too much, but it's sort of an interesting function I've never dealt with before and I'd like to try out. Camera is on here. The other aspect of this is the Panasonic image app that you want to download onto your cell phone. Now, what I'm going to be doing here is NFC, near field communication, to communicate between the phone and the camera here. There are other options to set this up if you don't have an NFC area or NFC chip in your phone. In order to turn the twin camera on, I had to do a couple of things augmenting the settings from what I actually want to do on this camera moving forward, but we're just here to try this out. So I had to set it, and you can actually notice a little bit of a audio equalizer going on there according to my voice as it's picking it up. But anyway, so I had to go into the menu settings here. And by the way, the touchscreen is very responsive when I'm not trying to demonstrate it here because I'm kind of on an angle and I'm not pressing as hard as I normally would. But you have the menu here. I went into the record setup, and really what I wanted to do is, again, I can't see really here, you wanted to do the backup for twin camera. I wanted to turn that on. In order to turn that on, I actually had to change the record mode. So I had to put it into AV-CHD mode, and then I have to choose one of the 1080 60i 60 frames interlaced per second modes here. So one of these 4 modes in order to do the twin camera mode. So I'm going to hit exit there, and let's see if this is going to work this time around. So there's NFC on this phone. I actually turn the icon on. Normally I have it off up here, but the NFC is on here. But you can't do anything with the NFC function on the app. Basically, this is the NFC area here, so I think the NFC on the phone is somewhere up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch this area up here. So I've got a lot of loud noises going on. So touch the NFC mark on the camera. So it says establish a Wi-Fi connection with this smartphone. So let's go with yes. And please wait. I might have to put this on my Wi-Fi here. Touch the smartphone to this unit again. Okay, so now it's connecting. Maybe it's just reading the Wi-Fi off of the cell phone and making it easier for me. So let's see what we've got here. So it's connected. The display disappears. All right, this is going to be interesting. So at this point, I was getting a lot of feedback on here. So at this point, you can do, I think that was doing remote operation. It just defaulted into remote operation. So basically, the screen on the camera goes off, and you're controlling the camera with the cell phone. So what that can be used for is like a baby monitor, so you have the ability to record on here, or view what's going on your cell phone on here. And if you do want to bring the screen back up, you just press the screen and it shows under smartphone control. So that was the remote operation, and that gave a lot of feedback because you had the phone and this mic, and it was just not conducive to what I want to do here. What I really want to do is I want to try and do that twin camera function. You can see here on the screen, hopefully, that I've gotten the phone paired up with the camera here, so now I have a new icon down here. So I could press that and try and pair the two up again, but what I'm going to try is the Wi-Fi button on the actual body of the camera here. So when I press that, we have a couple of options now. So the one that I want is the twin camera option here, so I'm going to press that and select device to connect. So I'm going to connect to the smartphone. So the camera itself gave me an SSID that I have to enter into the smartphone. So it says enter the following Wi-Fi settings into your smartphone or tablet. So I'm going to assume that I hit Wi-Fi up here on the app. So on the app, it gave me a whole list of Wi-Fi in the area, and it also gave me the camera. So I selected the camera, and then over here on the camera, it says connect the smartphone, Moto 2 Play. So I'm going to hit yes over here. What you might see here is my living room, which I've done many videos. My channel was born in this room. I got a lot of cords here, so that's my Sony TV there. But you see my living room, and that's being filmed through this camera here. The secondary, let's kind of leave that there, and I might zoom in on it in a second, but on the secondary camera we have the phone camera here. So here's an inception for you. You have me filming this camera here, and that is on, there you go, that is on the picture-in-picture there. So finally I got this thing working. It's showing it, if you notice here, maybe you don't, let me zoom in a little bit. So this is the display on the camera here, and this is me filming around with the cell phone. It's actually pretty interesting. I'm going to do a sample recording of this, and then what we'll do is we'll actually play it back on my computer in a second. But let's see if there's any lag. There's a little bit of lag there. Let's see if you can see my finger moving there. There's a little bit of a lag there, and you would expect that because we have the connection via Wi-Fi. So anyway, the one thing I noticed is that it's widescreen right now, and I think it'll go to a squared off aspect ratio. There we go. So it's a smaller aspect ratio if you hold it in portrait mode. I'm zoomed in too much, but portrait landscape. So portrait mode is a more, squared off little window here. If you hold it in landscape, it'll go to a widescreen mode there. So I think what we're doing is we're going to be able to record on the camera itself. So I'm recording there, and then it's also recording the secondary camera here, which is kind of interesting. We'll see if I can incorporate it into the channel at all. But the one thing is that we're actually recording this screen here. So if I want in post editing to remove this little picture-in-picture, I can't. So, it might just be better to do a picture-in-picture where you don't have lag in a situation in the editing software itself, but this is actually a kind of interesting little feature here. So I can, take a look at the camera filming here, and we'll actually look at this in a second on my computer when we take the SD card out. So if you really want to go inception here, let's go to the camera that I'm filming on, right here. Filming the camera with the camera, and we've got a full loop going on there. So here on the cell phone itself, this is the feed that's going into the camera over there, the camcorder. There are some options here. You can use the front-facing camera. There you go. You could do, I believe this is a white balance maybe. Yeah, you can change the white balance on here, leave it on auto here. What do we have? Plus and minus, is that a zoom probably? Let's see. Oh no, that's your exposure there. And then we have a zoom function here, right? Yeah, there we go. You can zoom in or zoom out. I wonder if you can do a pinch. No, you can't do a pinch on this. So I'm recording there, and then it's also recording the secondary camera here, which is kind of interesting. We'll see if I can incorporate it into the channel at all. But the one thing is that we're actually recording this screen here. So if I want in post editing to remove this little picture-in-picture, I can't. So, it might just be better to do a picture-in-picture where you don't have lag in a situation in the editing software itself. But this is actually a kind of interesting little feature here. So I can take a look at the camera filming here, and we'll actually look at this in a second on my computer when we take the SD card out. So if you really want to go Inception here, let's go to the camera that I'm filming on, right here. Filming the camera with the camera, and we've got a full loop going on there. So there you go. Kind of cool. But that is the twin camera function on here, which I really wanted to try out. Like I said, the documentation, unless I'm missing something, but the documentation in this camera itself is not the best. And so basically, in closing, just touching on this app a little bit, if you use the app from the cell phone, you can control the camera itself and use it sort of as a baby monitor. You can control it. I haven't tried it outside of my home wireless network, so I don't know if you can do it from remote areas, but as a baby monitor, you're not going to be leaving your house anyway, because unless you're a bad parent, you're going to be in the same house as your baby. So that would be interesting to, have this as something like a baby monitor, where you can monitor things when you're in the house on your home wireless network on your cell phone. So you can actually control the camera that way. If you initiate the contact with the camcorder itself to the cell phone, then what you end up with is this, the picture-in-picture, the twin camera. So that's the Panasonic HC-VX870, and that's going to do it for this video. From here on out, unless something goes wrong or unless I need a secondary camera, this is the camera I'm going to be filming on. If you watched my previous video on this camera, you'll know that I have a ton of backlogged videos that I have filmed. So moving forward from this point, you'll probably see videos on this channel filmed with my previous cameras. But from this point forward, it's all going to be on here. But that's going to do it for now on this camera, unless I can come up with anything that's interesting moving forward. It's just going to be my workhorse camera for the channel going forward. And I might go into 4K. I don't know, but at this time I think I'm just going to stick with the 1080p. So that's going to do it for this video. If you have any questions or comments, please post them down below. If you like what you see, please subscribe. And as always, if you want to help out this channel, you can give me a thumbs up. You can share this video on your favorite social media, or you can actually join my Patreon, all of which is greatly appreciated. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.